It's Monday, the 10th of June 2019. This is KMTV News Today. My name is Dr. Mashemen, the headline. Council of Patriots gives the government of Liberia 1 month ultimatum to address their concerns, threatening to continue the fight if their plights are not met. Former ruling Unity Party Special Operations calls for immediate resignation of the party's chairman, William Pay. Away from Liberia, Sudan's Military Council says it will reinforce the employment of security forces as the country enters the second day of a civil disobedience campaign. Those plus more package for you on this presentation. Keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Organizers of the famous June 7 protest have blamed government for its failure to present their petition on Friday. The government had earlier announced that the Council of Patriots petition would be received by Joe Howard Taylor, Vice President of Liberia, a promise unfulfilled. According to the spokesperson of COB, the action of President Weah can only be equated to a choice to deal with them as his subjects and enemies. Dillon spoke at a press conference on Sunday.
We insist that the petition was not presented on June 7, the day of the protest, because the president, as our leader, chose to deal with us not as his fellow citizens, but as his subjects. Not as his people, but as his enemies. The government earlier announced that it had designated Vice President Joe Howard Taylor, an elected official, to receive our petition on behalf of the government, even as it was against our earlier demand that our petition was only to be delivered to the president himself. We gathered out there as early as 7 a.m. GMT to deliver our petition. We waited for over 11 hours on our government, but they failed to live up to their own decision and commitment to send the Vice President to receive the petition. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Liberians, we are pleased to announce to the Liberian people in the world, and do place the government of Liberia on constructive notice that we are hereby releasing a list of demands to the Liberian people, to the government of Liberia through the media as contained in the people's petition. We expect the government to respond to these demands within the period of 1 month, after which we will determine the new course of action.
At the news conference, the Council of Patriots demanded President Weah to immediately disband the Technical Economic Management Team with special reference to Finance Minister Samuel Toye and CBL Governor Nathaniel Patriot to be dismissed and prosecuted for alleged criminal liability. Henry Costa read the recommendation.
Urgently proceed with efforts to amend and/or repeal the current electoral laws. Immediately commission an independent investigation into the hasty impeachment of Associate Justice Kabina Jana, which has undermined the integrity and independence of the judiciary at a time when Liberians are craving for justice, and commence immediately, in collaboration with the Liberian National Bar Association, an overhaul of the judiciary, including the reconstitution of the Supreme Court bench. Establish a court to address claims, corruption, and strengthen Criminal Code E, which is responsible to try rape cases. Demonstrate respect for human rights, human dignity, and press freedom. through the comprehensive review of our laws that should restrain the exercise of basic freedoms, especially the media freedoms. The immediate disbanding of the Technical Economic Management Team and the criminal prosecution of its members for complicity and involvement in the illegal conduct of the $25 million infusion and mop-up exercise. In this regard, special reference is made to Finance Minister Samuel Twe and CBL Governor Nathaniel Pittri, for which they must be dismissed and prosecuted for criminal culpability under their direct charge. The bogus mop-up exercise was conducted and missing billions mismanaged. Immediately establish a task force with clear mandate to implement the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, particularly the recommendation for establishment of a war and an economic crimes court in Liberia without delay. The government of Liberia should make a request to the United Nations for such a court before July 26, 2019. Immediately ensure direct budget allocation for the implementation of TRC related recommendations. Immediately implement a comprehensive audit of all government ministries, agencies, and parastatals of the period of this administration and legally address past audits.
As part of the recommendations, CUB called on the government to immediately stop funding activities at the office of the First Lady, Claire Weir.
Conduct a comprehensive audit of all and any of the dozens of personal infrastructure and all building projects undertaken by President Weir at several locations in Montserrat County since he assumed office, including the purchase of a private jet and a yacht. This is a constitutional requirement. Immediately ratify both Eaton and Iboma financing agreements. Immediately halt the unlawful awarding of contracts to businesses with close ties to the president and senior members of his administration. Reconstitute through independent vetting all integrity institutions to ensure independence. Corruption. For the purpose of transparency, President George Weir and his officials should immediately publish assets they are reported to have declared to the General Auditing Commission, GAC, and Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, LACC, and ensure that they are verified. Immediately establish a special court to try all corruption cases in Liberia so that indictments cannot linger indefinitely and so that justice can truly be served to those accused. Legally expel all individuals previously convicted for crimes in their countries who are now operating in Liberia. Immediately provide explanation as to which individuals within the Central Bank of Liberia or the government of Liberia received or approved the injection of the new Liberian banknotes into the economy without effectively removing from circulation the equivalent quantity and or value of legacy banknotes. This is a recommendation and or request from Crow's associates. Immediately stop funding activities of the First Lady. There is no such office legally created under our Constitution. Immediately halt a comprehensive audit of the National Legislature.
In response, Presidential Press Secretary, the first Solo Kelber, said the Liberian government provided an enabling environment for the presentation of the petition, but the petitioners did not utilize such opportunity. He said President Weir remains committed to listening to his people and will address the legitimate concerns of the Liberian populace.
The government created a platform and enabling environment for the petition to be presented on June 7. Everything was done as the government promised to do. So, nothing is going to change the government from listening to our citizens. Nothing is going to change the government from receiving petition if there is a petition to be given. Because you remember on the 14th of May, what we call our Unification Day, the Council of Patriots were asked to present their grievances, the issues they want to talk, the issue for which they want to go to the streets, to come and present them. And they said all they wanted, they used the word, they said, well, carved in the stone. All they did was, nothing's going to stop them from assembling to present their petition. Consultations were held. they were called by the ECOWAS group, AU, the parliament, and said it's carved in the stone. So everybody thought they would spark the rock and take out the petition on that day to be presented. It didn't happen. For whatever reason they chose for which they didn't present it, fine. However, according to what I heard, I don't know what is true, but they said the petition was presented via Facebook, press conference, live coverage and thing. And so that's it. But anytime they have the grievances, any group of Liberians having legitimate concerns, the president and this government is willing to listen to them. I think that what matters most. The government will remain responsible. The government will continue to dialogue where it is necessary. The government will remain committed to listening to all of our citizens with legitimate concerns. And at an appropriate time, the government will do everything.
The Presidential Press Secretary has meanwhile informed journalists that the Office of President Weah up to date has no information relative to the absence of Vice President Taylor to receive the petition. There have been unsubstantiated media reports stating that the Liberian Deputy Chief Executive had been ill prior to the demonstration. Mr. Kerber explains more to the media.
There was nothing brought to the attention of the President that she was not going to be there. Okay. She was part of the cabinet meeting that was chaired by the President on Wednesday. It was there said in the cabinet meeting that she would be the one receiving the petition. She was called on the day of the petition 3, 4, 5 different times by the President. The President was in contract communication with her staff. So the President has nothing, no beef at all with her. If she has other reasons for which she didn't show up, that has not been formally communicated to the Office of the President. But I think the President, being the President of this country, he assured the world, he assured us Liberians that he will create a platform and enabling environment for those Council of Patriots to go and submit their petition, because from day one, that's what they said they wanted to do. So the Vice President, like I said, for some reasons, she didn't show up. Probably the reasons will be communicated later on, but up to now, I don't know why she didn't show up, because they have not been made official. So if they feel that the President and Vice President have some rivalry, some beef for which they refuse, no. All they said was people who violated the laws, people who assaulted law enforcement officers, people who were obstructing justice should be set free. And I didn't see it as part of the league petition. So if you are accusing people of not respecting the rule of law.
If you're just coming up with this, is a reminder that you are watching News Today. I'll have our news presentation brought to you from the news desk of Creative Minds Television. And still to come, former ruling Unity Party Special Operations calls for immediate resignation of the party's chairman, William Pay. And away from Liberia, Sudan's Military Council says it will reinforce the deployment of security forces as the country enters the second day of a civil disobedience campaign. Keep watching. We'll be right back. This is News Today with me, Zach Dotiama Sherman. Former ruling Unity Party Special Operations is calling for the immediate resignation of the party's chairman, William Pay. In a press statement, the group accused Chairman William Pay of what it calls internal wrangling the party is currently faced with. According to UP Special Operations, Mr. Pay's failure as leader was transcended to the failed June 7 protest and languished citizens in the name of Council of Patriots. The chairman of the Special Operations, Magnus Nan, who read the press statement, noted that the party has lost numerous seats at the legislature due to the failed leadership of Chairman Pay.
We also want to categorically state clearly that all of the internal wrangling within the United Party derived from the so-called Chairman Wilmot Pay, whose only strategy from the inception of his ascendancy as Chairman of the United Party is to insult and abuse leaders and stakeholders in order to gain relevance in society. In our mind, Chairman Pay is doing this at the expense of good people who have worked tirelessly to bring reforms in our country that he seems to be protesting to maintain today. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, Chairman Wilmot Pay, who is presiding over a major opposition political party and a former ruling party, will commit and carry out a failed protest and languishing our citizens in the streets under the canopy of Council of Patriots, COP. Therefore, in remnants of the above, we call for the immediate resignation of the administratively inept Chairman Wilmot Pay as Chairman of the Unity Party in order to have a better leadership as party a clear victory in the next senatorial, general and presidential elections in 2020 and 2023 respectively. The former Unity Party lost 2017 general elections simply because Chairman Pay lacks the leadership ability, especially in uniting partisans. Under Chairman Pay's administration, the party has lost several seats as well in the legislature. Some senators and representatives currently have resigned from the Unity Party and joined other political parties. Due to the way and manner the chairman is managing the party recently, Chairman Pay and his followers, who are tarnishing the image of the party daily, suspended 8 senators without due process under our constitution. This, again, in our mind, is a complete violation of the canon law of our country. We are calling partisans of the Unity Party to remain committed despite of the party's chairman, Wilmot Pay leadership gap. Thanks for coming.
A 28-year-old man identified as Solon Molbe has been arrested by police in Bon County for brutally killing his lover, Hawa Bokolu. According to report, Molbe reportedly stabbed a young girl to death on Thursday, June 6, 2019, when they both met in a village called Yakpa Town in Sanoye district and dumped her remains by the roadside. The deceased was said to have gone to her boyfriend's house where she was expected to pass the night. An allegation of infidelity leveled by the green-eyed lover boy against his girlfriend was said to have degenerated into a fierce argument. Liberia's telecommunications company, Lone Star Cell, MTN, and Orange Liberia have apologized to customers for the difficulties experienced during the June 7 Save the State protest in Monrovia. Social media sites including WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook were blocked to suppress the protests. The two telecommunication companies, in their message of apology, said it was due to the implementation of a regulatory directive from the government of Liberia to restrict access to social media services on the day of the protest. This is News Today. Next, coming up is Anthony Kokwe with Sports Development.
Welcome to Sports with me, Anthony Kukwe. We begin at the LFA with the First Division League, where LPRC Oilers have been confirmed champions of the ongoing 2018-2019 Liberia Football Association League season after a 3-0 defeat against Ketris FC at the Antoinette Tedman Stadium on Sunday. Terry Saka put up a man-of-the-match performance after firing home a hat-trick to pen his team's confirmation as champions. After several attempts in the first half, Chicago Terry finally got the opening goal in the 43rd minute before scoring the last two in the 76th and 79th minutes respectively. With 2 games left to be played, Oilers maintain they are 7 points atop of the league, 7 points ahead of Lescott FC, who also secured a 1-0 defeat against FC Fasea at the Doris Williams Sports Pitch in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. The triumph meant LPRC Oilers brought to an end 14 years of trophy drought since Oilers last won the league title along with the FA Cup back in 2005. This means the team will also represent Liberia at the 2019 Confederation of African Football or CAF Champions League. In other developments, FC Fasea have been relegated to the 2nd division after failing to secure a win against Lescott FC on Sunday. This means FC Fasea returned to the 2nd division since 2014 after they emerged as champions of the 2nd division. Fasea remained bottom of the league table with 11 points out of 20 games. In women's football, Blanco FC and IF Angels have progressed to the FA Cup final of the women's football category. Blanco FC defeated Hip Hop 4-0 at the Antoinette Tedman Stadium, while IF Angels defeated Determined Girls 1-0 at the George Weah Technical Center in Carisburg. And finally, Liberia's international forward Anthony Snotty Lamford has lost his mother today, along with German-based cracker Vafini Jabatet, who also lost his mother. KMTV Sports Director extends his deepest sympathy to the 2 Liberian players playing abroad. Well, those were the latest from our Sport Index. For more sport news, you can visit our website at www.kmtvsports.com. Better stay follow us on Instagram at KMTV Sports. Until then, my name is Anthony Kugwe. Goodbye.
Anthony Kokwe with sports development on news today. And now, before we go home, let's cross over to our international news desk. Sudan's Military Council says it will reinforce the deployment of security forces, including Field Rapid Support Force, as the country enters the 2nd day of a civil disobedience campaign. The campaign is trying to force the country's military leaders to transfer power to a civilian authority. On Sunday, at least 4 people were killed when the nationwide strike began. Most people are observing the call from opposition groups for civil disobedience, and the majority of business and offices in the capital, Khartoum, remain closed for a 2nd day. Public transport is barely running, with just a few private cars transporting passengers, while doctors are only treating emergency cases. Another folks, to say thanks for your viewing pleasure, but before we go home, here once again the headline. Council of Patriots gave the government of Liberia 1-month ultimatum to address their concern, threatens to continue the fight if their plights are not met. Former ruling Unity Party Special Operations calls for immediate resignation of the party's chairman, Wilmer Pay. And away from Liberia, Sudan's Military Council said it will reinforce the deployment of security forces as the country enters the 2nd day of a civil disobedience campaign. Thanks for your viewing pleasure. I'm Dr. Good night.